All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today to talk about transitioning from being a graduate student into a postdoctoral role. We have Melanie Cinch, who is the Graduate School's Director of Graduate Student and Postdoc Success here, so kind of uniquely positioned to talk about this particular topic. I'm going to turn things over to Melanie in just a second, but a couple quick reminders. We are recording today's sessions. We'll send that out usually early next week once we've reviewed the captions. Along with any slides, links, any references today, put in the chat, things like that. We'll gather it all together and send it out to you so that you have it. We also always post the materials from each session on our Timely Topics page, which I just dropped in the chat. So if you are looking for this information, trying to come back to it, that's one place to find it. You can also find our prior sessions on there as well. All right, Melanie, if you are all set, I'm going to turn everything over to you. Melanie, you might just have to unmute yourself and everything because it blocks us all when we start the recording. Melanie, you're still on mute. Sorry if you're talking. Oh, she says, just got a message from her. She can't do anything. Let me see. All right, I sent you an unmute request. Does that help at all?
Okay, yes. And okay, now you can see me. I couldn't I was hitting every button and I couldn't get through. So thank you everyone for your patience and welcome. I'm so glad to be with you today, and we will be talking about the transition from graduate student to postdoc. So my name is Melanie Cinch, and I serve as the Director of Graduate Student and Postdoctoral Success at the Graduate School. I've actually only been at UConn since August, so still getting to know lots of you, and really excited to be working with Megan on this series and today's talk. So, oh, and I also wanted to say Happy Earth Day to everyone. So let me see if I can share my screen here. Okay, can you see my screen?
No, not yet.
Okay. Let me try this one. Okay, can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay, there we go. So it's at the beginning?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right, so wanted to start with a quick poll. So let me see if I can make this work. I wonder if I can do a poll while I'm presenting. That's interesting. Let me. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Okay, I think I just turned my phone off. Should I change my
All right, Melanie, you've joined the meeting twice now. So, and sorry, you're on mute now because there was a feedback loop. I think there's only one of you now. Perfect.
Okay, good. I'm not sure that I can share while I'm doing my the poll, so I'm just going to post this. So for all of you who are online now, I wanted to ask you, what is your current long-term career goal? So you should be seeing that in the right-hand panel. And if you're not, there are 3 little boxes and a plus sign at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. And if you click on that, it should show apps, and you can look up the app Slido, Slido. But so what is your current long-term career goal? Is it faculty? Is it industry research, government research, nonprofit work, or would you like to work for yourself? Okay, so it looks like a lot of you are thinking about faculty jobs. Looks like about 70%. Some of you are thinking about industry research, some government research. Okay, so looks like most of you have responded. Okay. All right, so we will be talking about all of these options today. So just wanted to get us started with a quick poll. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to try to share again. Okay. Okay, so today we'll talk about different kinds of postdocs. So including those that we just looked at quickly in terms of your next career goal, searching for and selecting a postdoc, making the most of your time there. How do you manage expectations, the expectations of your new faculty advisor or supervisor? How to establish productive mentoring relationships, setting goals for yourself, how to balance work and life, and we'll finish with some resources. So in terms of understanding different types of postdocs, I wanted to share with you that there are a lot of different types, and we will be discussing several different opportunities for you and different resources. And so just rest assured that Megan will share these slides with you after today, so no need to take notes. But with academic postdocs, this may be the type of postdoc that you're most familiar with. So postdocs that are available in a university setting in a program or department. There are industry postdocs, so different companies or corporations have some specific lots of postdocs available. And so it's important for you to think about your work and your research and what you might like to do next as you start to look at government agencies. There are also national labs, and most national labs in the US are considered federally funded research and development centers. So that's FFRDC. This is an important point because there is a difference between government agency postdocs and postdocs at national labs. So because national labs are federally funded research and development centers, they're owned by the federal government, but they're managed by individual universities or university consortia or private companies or nonprofits. So postdocs at national labs are not typically federal employees. So what that means is that some of the postdocs at FFRDCs are open to foreign nationals. So if you are an international student and you're looking to be moving into a postdoc maybe on a J1, you will be able to apply for some positions at national labs and FFRDCs unless those postdocs involve classified or sensitive export controlled information, which might require US citizenship for security clearances. So look at FFRDCs to find a list of these kinds of organizations that are federally funded. Just search in Google for FFRDC list, and it will come up with all of the centers for research and development in the US. You might also find there are foundations or other nonprofits that host postdoctoral programs, and we'll talk about a few of those. There are postdocs at hospitals and health centers across the country. And then there are special focus postdocs. So there are some postdocs that will help train you as an effective teacher, or if you want to be teaching faculty and you don't have much teaching experience yet, you might want to look for some of these specific postdocs. And again, in terms of a Google search, I would just look for list of teaching postdocs. And you'll find there are several that you can apply for that are set programs. There are also some field-specific postdocs. So if you're interested, for example, in science policy, the American Association for the Advancement of Science, AAAS, has a specific postdoc for science and technology policy. They also have one for mass media. So if you're interested in communication and using your strong communication skills, think about a postdoc in a different area like that. The Population Studies Center has another postdoc that's specific to population studies. The Mellon postdoc is open to lots of graduate students in the humanities and social sciences. So think about those field-specific postdocs. And then self-made, I've actually worked with some graduate students who have created their own opportunities. So maybe contacted an organization like a consulting firm. I once worked with a grad student who contacted a consulting firm and asked if they would fund a postdoc. And they did. It was a boutique consulting firm, so they were fairly small and nimble. And the postdoc salary is not that high. So they were able to fund a postdoc. So that is an example of another self-made postdoc. Of this list, which do you think, or which do you think is the most populated type of postdoc in the US? So where are most of the postdocs in the US? And you can post your answer in the chat. Academic, okay, maybe industry. Okay. Okay, so the academics have it. Actually, of all of the postdocs in the US, about 75% are at universities. So following that, about 14% are in industry. So there's a big shift there. And that is because there are many, actually some graduate students move into postdocs at their same institution, or they switch an institution if they need to retrain, or just want more experience and more exposure to other opportunities. So in terms of searching for and selecting a postdoc, I'm going to ask you another question, if I can get back over to the poll. Here we go. Okay, so what is the most common way of finding a postdoc? So can you all see the poll? Okay, so responding to an ad online, a referral from your PhD advisor, direct email to a faculty member, referral from another faculty member, referral from a friend or colleague, applying directly to a particular postdoc program. Okay. So this is more of a mix. Let's see, direct email to a faculty member, applying directly to a particular postdoc program. Okay. Okay, so it looks like, wow, this is really close. Referral from your PhD advisor and direct email to faculty member are the highest scoring answers. Okay. Yeah, I think those two are the highest. Okay, now if I can somehow share my screen again. Okay, go to big screen. I'm sorry, I'm new to WebEx, so this is Megan, if I'm only seeing the participant screen, is there a way to get back to the big screen?
Do you mean in Slido, or which screen are you looking at?
Oh, WebEx.
Yeah, you should be able to close some of those panels, like the participants panel.
Okay, I closed that, and let's see. I can't seem to get back to the sharing screen. That's okay. Um, okay.
It's like at the top, you might be able to choose which monitor you're sharing. Like if you see it and it looks like you're in share mode, but we're seeing the notes page, at the top, you can choose which monitor you're sharing.
Okay.
That might make you join twice if you hit that button.
Okay. Oh, so you can see that screen.
Yeah, so you're sharing your screen, not just the app, and you just want to go to the top and it'll say, do you want to share monitor 1, 2, 3? I think you just need to choose a different monitor.
I'm gonna try one more time. You're sharing screen 1. Okay.
Yeah, try sharing like screen 2.
Oh, I got it now. Okay. Right. Okay, can you see that?
Yes, and you are in show mode.
Okay, thank goodness. So thank you everyone for participating in that poll. And the answer is direct email to a faculty member. So that is the most common way that people search for and select a postdoc. In terms of sending a direct email to someone, you can introduce yourself, you can express an interest in their research and their work. Be sure to include your CV in the direct email. But, you know, of all of the postdocs that I've surveyed, 42% will send a direct email to a faculty member. But to those of you who said referral from PhD advisor, actually 20% will find a postdoc from by being referred from their faculty advisor. So that was the second and most popular answer. And then it just goes down from there. Responded to an ad online and applied to a particular postdoc program. Okay, so in terms of selecting a postdoc, then what are some items you should think about? What are some questions you might ask yourself? So some postdocs are time delimited, so you can think about the length of time you'd like to spend as a postdoc. Think about the source of funding, think about how stable that is. If you're applying to a specific postdoc program that is in industry or a nonprofit, you want to know, where their funding is coming from, the size of the research group, whether you can travel to meetings, or teach if you want to. So think about all of these pieces as you're selecting a postdoc. Given my time, I've spent about 25 years in most of the graduate students look for the specific research they'd like to do next. So that sort of drives their postdoc search, and that's why they tend to reach out directly to faculty members. That is totally appropriate. It happens all the time. And as you saw from the poll, 42% of all postdocs in the US found their postdocs that way. So that is definitely very common. So don't hesitate to reach out to someone who's doing really exciting research in your field. So in terms of making the most of your postdoc, there are several different suggestions I have. One is to request the offer letter in writing with the specifics of your appointment. So start date, length of appointment, funding, project, possibly what you'll be working on. So be sure to request that in writing. Then I would say, look at the institution's postdoc office. This is more work you can do on the front end. You can find out whether the organization that you're looking at supports postdocs. If it's a university, there likely will be a postdoc office by this point in the history of postdoc services and postdoc affairs. But that is a nice source of support for you throughout your postdoc. So, take a look and see if they have an office. And then map out your research and career goals. So this is something that I encourage you to do at the very beginning, at the very start of your postdoc. I would encourage you to draft an individual development plan. So this is a plan that you can use for your research, for your career, for your personal goals. And there are a couple tools that you can use to, I'm going to open the chat, to create an IDP. So the two that I'm posting in the chat now are two of several tools that you can use online, but these two are free. And the first one is called My IDP, and that's a tool you can use to focus on setting goals for anytime. You can use My IDP now as a graduate student, but essentially it takes you through a self-assessment. So what are you interested in? Trying to capture more information about your interests and your skills and your personal values. And then it will point you to different career options. But part of My IDP is an individual development plan template. So you can actually enter goals for yourself and you can track your progress over time. So my IDP created, I think in 2003, through the AAAS. So it is for STEM graduate students and postdocs to use. Imagine PhD was built later, I think in the 2010s, and that focuses on humanities and social science PhDs. So if you're in the humanities or social sciences, check out Imagine PhD, because you can go through that same career development process where you're looking at yourself, then you're looking at career options for humanities and social science PhDs. And then you can sketch a plan for yourself, and it does the same thing. It keeps you accountable to making progress on your research and your career goals. So definitely check those out. Discuss your draft plan with your advisor. So this is your new advisor or supervisor at the postdoc. So once you have gone through taking a look at one of those applications, one of those IDP platforms, and tried to sketch out a draft of your plan, sit down with your advisor and talk about it. It's really important to set expectations early and make sure that you're both on the same page. Find and attend career and professional development programs while you're in your postdoc. This will help you to move forward in any of those career fields that we talked about. So whether you want to be on the tenure track or eventually find a job in industry or a government agency or a nonprofit, it's important for you to stay on track the whole time you're in your postdoc. Become an active member of the postdoc community. So the National Postdoc Association was formed in 2000 and I think it's also 2003. So it's about 23 years old, and it supports all postdocs, actually everywhere, but it is based in the US. So they have a lot of support resources, and we'll talk a little bit about that when we talk about resources at the end of today's session. So what about managing expectations? You want to be on the same page as your new boss, right? So I would encourage you to ask your postdoc advisor about the first 6 months, the first year. What do they expect you to accomplish? What about in the first month? Do they want you to visit with other faculty in the department? Do they want you to maybe rotate through different departments if you're in industry? What are their expectations, and what do they expect you to accomplish in that time? So do they want to see certain progress in that first year? So that's something I would encourage you to talk about. Also decide how often you'll meet. So some postdocs I've worked with over time have been frustrated when their faculty advisor or supervisor could only meet, say, once every couple of months. And they felt like they needed more time than that. So try to determine, if that is the case, is there someone else there who can support you? Will regular presentations of your work be required? So what will your new advisor or supervisor be looking for? Will you be expected to train and mentor undergraduates or graduate students? So that's important for you to know. Will you be expected to write grant or fellowship applications? So given our funding climate, some faculty are requiring their incoming postdocs to write their own fellowship applications to try to solidify their funding. And then will you be able to take any part of your research project with you when you leave the postdoc? This is a very important conversation to have early and often, because some postdocs who are looking to transition into faculty jobs may want to take some of their research into their new role. And that may or may not be possible depending on your faculty advisor's research. So in terms of establishing productive mentoring relationships, it's important for us all to remember always that not all faculty advisors are mentors. So it's really critical for you to identify other people in addition to your faculty advisor. And your faculty advisor may be a good mentor, but I wouldn't assume that. So I would encourage you to find multiple mentors. So you might find faculty in the same or a different department. You might find someone who's a professional in a career of interest now. You can certainly start to broaden your network now by contacting people and exploring different career options. You want someone who supports your well-being. Peer mentors are amazing, and you can find those potentially in your postdoc. So there might be other postdocs. There might be a postdoc association at your university or institution that puts on career and professional development programs. So they might be a very active resource for you once you start your postdoc, or a mentor who's in your identity group. So depending on how you identify, maybe you're a first generation graduate student and you want to find someone else who is first gen. You could find a mentor, in that space. Then once you have identified someone, I would encourage you to meet regularly while being considerate of their time. So, you don't need to meet every week necessarily with these different mentors, but it depends on what you need. It depends on what you need for research support. It depends on what you need for career support. And personal support. So think about that when you build your constellation of mentors. I actually have a friend who calls his group of mentors his board of directors. So I like that because they are helping him with his life. And so I encourage you to do the same. And then mentoring is a two-way street. So give back to your mentors whenever you can. So for example, if you have a mentor who's a faculty member in the same department, if you see an article you think they might be interested in, send it to them. Or if they're looking for an undergraduate research assistant and you know someone, help them out. So you have the opportunity to give back in all mentoring relationships. So in terms of setting professional goals, I wanted to ask you if you know what the acronym SMART stands for. So if you can post your answer in the chat to SMART, SMART goals. So SMART goals are a description of the type of questions you should be asking yourself when you're starting to set professional goals. So SMART is an acronym. And so if you know what the acronym stands for, you can post it in the chat. Because each of the letters stands for a different word. So SMART, the S in SMART stands for specific. So when you're setting goals, you don't want to be general. You don't want to say, I will work on my job search this month. You want to be very specific and you want the goal to be measurable. So you could say something like, I will identify 2 new contacts and reach out to them on LinkedIn in a career field of interest. So you want it to be measurable so you'll know whether it's been accomplished or not. You want it to be reasonable. So A stands for attainable, result-oriented, and time-bound. So what do I mean by time-bound? Set deadlines for yourself. So if you were to set a SMART goal around your career development, and again, this is something you can do now in addition to during your postdoc. If you want to build your network of people in a specific career field, you could say, identify 2 new contacts on LinkedIn by Friday at 5. So that gives you a deadline. So if Friday at 5 passes and you haven't done that yet, you'll know you haven't achieved that goal and you'll have to push it up to a new deadline. So you can use this method, the SMART goal method, to set career, professional development, and personal goals. So for your career, that can be quite specific about networking with faculty members, maybe attending a conference in your field. For your professional development, if you have a goal of strengthening your presentation skills, look for opportunities to present at your new postdoc. There likely will be many. So you can set that goal. And then personal goals, you may want to work on healthy. And then you can track your progress with one of those IDP apps that we talked about earlier, My IDP or Imagine PhD. So how do you balance work and life? I wanted to ask you to post in the chat, how do you like to spend your time outside of your current PhD program? So what are some of your interests? And I'll give you a minute to post those in the chat. So what do you like to do outside of work? Rock climbing, backpacking, amazing. Thank you, Rowan. Follow energy policies? Yes. Okay. Very good. Recreational sports, running, travel, reading, some video games, embroidery. Great, Kayla. And travel. Yep. Community volunteering, Marin, coaching and teaching language classes. Nice. Photography, gardening. I almost opened my garden. I have a big vegetable garden. I almost opened it last weekend, but it was supposed to be freezing this week. So I'm not opening my garden until this upcoming weekend. So you've got to carve out time for those interests and spend time with people who support you. So that might be friends, that might be faculty, that might be peers in your research group or in your department or program. So spend time with people who support you during your postdoc. You can create a group around a specific interest like rock climbing. I don't know if any of you have ever used meetup.com. I just posted it in the chat. It sounds like a dating app. It's not. You can actually look in meetup.com for a book club or a knitting group or someone to do rock climbing with, because and in specific geographic areas. So for example, if you're moving to, say, Memphis, and you want to find other people who like to take long walks, you could look for a walking group in Memphis on meetup.com. So you could create a new group around a specific interest with other postdocs. Caring for your health is paramount. I know I've talked to a lot of graduate students who struggle with this during their grad programs, but it really will enhance your productivity if you are eating right, exercising, and getting enough sleep. And be sure to care for your mental health. Because you know this, but graduate school can be very stressful, and the same is true for postdoc work. So be sure to take time out for these things that we've already listed. So spend time with people who you know care about you, and carve time out for your support, for your interests outside of work. If work is overwhelming, try to talk with your advisor about redistributing some work, or you can ask your advisor for help in prioritizing. So that kind of conversation happens all the time in every field, with me, with other people who are in career development for grad students and postdocs, with people who work in industry. Asking your boss for help in prioritizing your work is something that is very common. And then visit a mental health practitioner or clinic if you know that you are not doing well and you're starting to lose interest in activities that you usually enjoy. If you're not sleeping well, check in with someone and enjoy your postdoc. So I wanted to end with some resources both at UConn and outside of UConn. So at the graduate school, I actually meet with graduate students and postdocs one-on-one. So if you are interested in talking about your career and professional development in any way, if you want to brainstorm some career options, if you want to look for postdocs and you need some help, if you wanted me to review your CV or letter or even a draft email to a faculty member you want to approach, I will put my email in the chat and you can email me and we can choose a time that works for you. So I offer individual appointments. The graduate school also offers workshops, just like this one, just like, Timely Topics. There's a Timely Topics series. There is a series called Grad Chat, which is a time for graduate students to get together and talk with one another. It is facilitated by Kim Curry, who is our Director of Graduate Student and Postdoctoral Support. So that's another series that you could get involved with. We also host events like the 3-minute thesis, where we have events leading up to that kind of communication competition. So we had workshops on designing engaging presentations and giving 3-minute talks on your research. So a lot of different ways that the graduate school can support you and your work while you're here and in your transition to a postdoc. The Center for Career Readiness and Life Skills also has so many resources available for you. Wanted to be sure to introduce you to Kate Gruder. Kate Gruder is the Associate Director for Graduate Student and Postdoctoral Career Services at the center, and she also offers individual career coaching appointments. And so I or a lot of the same work Kay and I do overlaps. So if you had questions about finding, a different career option, if you feel like, the faculty market is tough in your field and you're not sure which way to go, that's something else that Kay can help you with. Connecting with industry. There are very large career fairs on campus that are hosted by the Center for Career Readiness and Life Skills, where you can actually meet some of the employers that have postdocs available. So think about that. We also have the daily announcements for graduate students through email. So this is a really important point that we are always trying to make with graduate students and postdocs, and that is read your email, because there might be some postdoc announcements in your email. So that's a great question. Do these career meetups take place in Storrs or Farmington? We actually, both of us, Kay and myself, we offer, and Kim Curry, offer individual appointments online or in person. So if you are at a different campus right now, you can meet with us virtually. So that's a great question. Thank you, Richard. So announcements for graduate students. Sometimes Kay will post open postdocs and specific postdoc programs announcements. So read your email because there might be some job openings in it. You might refer to your department or program. If you're looking for a postdoc, your faculty advisor may have some contacts at universities or institutions that you're looking at. So talk with your faculty advisor about your career plans. Other postdocs, so current postdocs at UConn may also know of postdocs in different departments at UConn. They may have come from a different graduate institution and they may have contacts there. So be sure to talk with current postdocs. Your mentors, we talked about building your team, your mentorship team, but they would likely be able to serve as a resource for all of the same aspects of your search that we've talked about, your CV, your letter, your networking, colleagues and collaborators. If you have some now, be sure to connect with them. And then your friends, other people that you maybe went to undergraduate with, or people in your grad program, they will likely be able to, or other friends that you've met through being at UConn, they will likely be able to point you to other resources. So resources outside of UConn include the National Postdoc Association. So the NPA has a career hub. So they have a lot of career coaching kinds of resources for graduate students looking for postdocs and for current postdocs to make the most of their time in their new appointment. So I would definitely check out nationalpostdoc.org. Postdocjobs.com is a site you can use for postdoc. Was created by a friend of mine, Alberto Roca, because he wanted to have a space for underrepresented graduate students in the academy to look for opportunities to connect, to network, and to find postdocs. So minoritypostdoc.org also includes a list of open postdocs. The Chronicle of Higher Education is one of our journals in my field. So if you're interested in higher education in general, you can read the articles there. But they also have career columns. They have a series called Carpe Careers, but they also have a really robust job site. So you can search for specific institutions, you can search geographically, you can look for postdocs, you can look for a specific type of position. And this is where a lot of faculty jobs will be posted too. So that website is just chronicle.com, and you'll hear people refer to it as the Chronicle. Higheredjobs.com is another site where you'll see postdocs listed. Highered360.com is an interesting one because if you know that you have to be in Washington State, for example, if you visit highered360.com, it actually lists by state all of the higher ed institutions in that state. So every college or university. So that is a comprehensive list by state. So if you wanted to, say, work in Massachusetts, you can look at the list of schools in Massachusetts, and each of the schools is linked to their job opening website. So if you wanted to look at MIT, it would bounce to the MIT job listing site, and you would be able to see currently available positions. So this is also true for your faculty search. This is true for a postdoc search. Unijobs.com posts jobs that are available worldwide, including postdocs. So if you are looking to move to another country for your postdoc, I would definitely try Unijobs. Euraxis is Europe focused, but it does have a job listings site for people who are interested in furthering their career in academic research. My IDP we talked about, an Imagine PhD. Another friend, Jim Gold, he wrote a book recently called Making the Most of Your Postdoc. So I wanted to refer you to Jim's new book. It's a really helpful and comprehensive resource that you can use that goes much deeper into how to make the most of your postdoc than we did today. But he touches on a lot of the topics that we covered today. Thriving as an international scientist. Another friend, Sonali, she is the assistant dean at Princeton right now. Sonali Majumdar, she just published this book, and it's about how to live and work as an international scientist. Includes a lot of information about finding a job in the US if you're interested in staying or going back to your home country. And then Next Gen PhD, A Guide to Career Paths in Science. This is a book that I wrote that I wanted to leave you with because it includes sample CVs, sample letters, sample emails to faculty members for pretty much any discipline. So I conducted research and a survey on PhDs and postdocs in science when I was working on my book. So my survey research includes about 8,000 PhDs and postdocs in the US, but the majority of my book is about career development for PhDs and postdocs and is applicable and relevant to anyone in any discipline. So good luck with your search. As I mentioned, I'm available for a chat if you wanted to work on your postdoc search. Kay is available for a chat. If you wanted to talk more and brainstorm about your faculty job search, if you wanted to just see what's out there now, I'm happy to talk with you about that or about other career options. So if you wanted to talk about industry jobs or moving into government agencies or an FFRDC, I'm happy to talk to you about that. So thank you so much for attending today, and my apologies again about the technical problems, but really excited for this next step in your journey. So thank you.
Melanie, thank you for taking the time to talk about this today.
You're welcome.
Would you mind emailing me your slides when you get a chance, and I'll get those out to everybody?
Yes, I can email them right now, and
oh, perfect.
Yeah, hope that they'll be helpful for people.